if you want to actually do a named export, so let's just say we want a couple styles and, oh man, I'm so bad at CSS. So const, let's say red button. Let's just say const red button. Maybe I'll just call it red equals, so we would pass this into the style and we would say color red, right? I'm pretty sure that's valid. And then let's say we want it to be blue equals color blue. And then if we really want to be, you know, since all of us with JavaScript are masters of abstraction, right? Make color style equals a function that takes a color and then returns, here we'll even avoid the return because we could just do a string right here, right? So we could say color, learning a little ES6 as we go. We could say color. Great. And then I'm using prettier, which just auto formats it, but it's the same syntax. Cool, so now we have 3 named exports that we could pull. I'll keep it there for a second.
Do you need to actually export?
I was just about to get there. Yes, so now we want to actually export these values. So we're going to say instead of module.exports, we would do exports.red. Now in this case, we can just say red equals red. Now this is the preferred way. So like when I'm ever writing modules in whatever syntax, because Webpack is run on Node, and so all of the Webpack code base is CommonJS. And so like I prefer almost always. There's no rule. You could have it right above the declaration, top of the file. It just has to be in the right execution order. This can be named whatever you want as long as it's you know, equal to make color style. So I could say that. I always name them the same thing. style. So for me, and I recommend you adopt this practice, which is leave your exports at the bottom of the file. Contextually, as if you're just some other person, you're diving into a code base for the first time, do you want to have to search around through a bunch of different exports throughout your file, or do you just want to go to the bottom and see exactly what's provided? I think that's super helpful for context, for readability, and in the same way, like if you see, where was it, the header or the footer, jump back to footer.js. There's actually an easier syntax. You can actually use destructuring with export. So if I said export and I do object, I can just pass top bottom like this. Oops, except spelled right. There we go. It's great because if you spell the wrong export name, when it's ESM, Webpack knows. It's like, yeah, I can't find that export that's used in the entry point. It'll complain to you. Which I love that. That was a new feature we just added for v4. So I always say put them all at the bottom. I mean, your code's not going to break if you don't, but I think this is a great pattern that you can start adopting right away. So I guess even in the same way, we could do, like, let's refactor this one. So here, I'll jump back to button styles. So is everybody good on that one? Cool. And move the export down to the bottom with footer.js. Go ahead and do that. And get you used to doing this kind of pattern. And then also, like you might be like, well, Sean, you have a module exports here. And you're right. That's kind of weird. And we don't get a named function out of it. So, or at least just a variable. So let's do the same thing. So we could just remove this module exports and just say const make button is equal to a function that returns. And we could just say module.exports equals make button. And what I like about this is that having module.exports at the top is kind of hard to do JS doc annotation. So like, if you follow me on Twitter, you've been noticing as of recent, I've been extremely passionate about adding JS docs to the Webpack source code. And the reason why is because TypeScript, you can actually get full TypeScript checking on your application by just adding JS docs. And so, when you are using utilities, work way better to have the named parameter instead of just the module or the module.exports. So I could say something like this: takes a string, button name, returns. I could probably say element. Yeah. Anyways, but then you get like instant TypeScript typing out of it. It's kind of a neat feature, but I digress. Okay. So now let's see, where were we? We wanted to actually consume the CommonJS file and its individual exports, right? So we've still just had Webpack running, and that's the best part. So now we want to take an import from button styles, right? And now you have access to red and blue, and even make color style. Now you don't always have to. You don't have to pull every export. Like that's the beautiful thing. Like let's say like I don't use red and blue because I love mustard color, and so I'm going to just only need this function. And so what's beautiful about the syntax is that you should only actually pull in what you're using. And the reason why is because Webpack leverages this information to only bundle what you're using. So let's just say make color style. Look, I love it. You get all the IntelliSense right out of the box. And I didn't even type it. It just uses automatic inference of the TypeScript language service. Is mustard actually a valid CSS style? Marigold is, I know that. But I can't spell marigold, so let's just do cyan. Or, yeah, cyan. So if your code auto-formats, that's mine just auto-formatted because I'm adding too many parameters.